So in this video we are going to know one of parts of speech, that is verb. So in previous videos we have learnt already about noun and its types with examples, and recently pronoun and its types. And this is the third parts of speech, verb. So in this we are going to know what is a verb and its types, and are there any remaining details about the verb, right? So before going to know the details about verb, first we have to know what is a verb. Verb, normally called in Telugu kriya, right? Kriya. In English called as verb, and normally all verbs are action words. So in a sentence, what the subject is doing, normally revealed by verb, right? Suppose I am teaching, right? The action I am doing here, teaching, is a verb. You are listening. Listening is a verb, right? So what the subject or what a noun is doing, that word comes under verb, right? And coming here, in verbs, according to their functions, they divided into two types. And number one is auxiliaries, and number two is main verbs, right? Auxiliaries and main verbs. So here auxiliaries are maximum fellows says there is no number, unlimited they'll say. Here I'll give you just 23 auxiliaries in English, and those are divided into again a few parts. These 23 auxiliaries are divided into be forms, do forms, have forms, and models, right? Four types again these auxiliaries are: be forms, do forms, have forms, and models. And here, what are be forms are? Be forms are am, is, are, was, were, be, been, and being. So those are 8 auxiliaries comes under be forms. And coming here, do forms, do, does, and did. Those three comes under do forms. And here have, has, had. Those three comes under have forms. And coming to models, models are shall, should, will, would, can, could, may, might, and must. So those are all comes under auxiliaries. As I said, there are 23. Be forms are 8. Do forms are 3, 11. Plus have forms are 3, 14. Plus models are 9. Total together 23. So there are 23 auxiliaries in English. Then here is called main verbs. Don't we call these are main verbs? Suppose here an example, I am teaching a class. It is a sentence. In this am is already here, auxiliary, right? It is an auxiliary form and it is a main verb. So here in a sentence, if there is any main verb is already exist, then auxiliary works as an auxiliary, means nothing but helping verbs also we call these helping verbs. So where there is a main verb in a sentence, then this verb helps to the main verb. At the time, it is not at all main verb, but its role is auxiliary, just helping to the main verb. And the same, one more sentence I am a teacher. So here, there are no main verbs in this sentence, only am. Here, am is not at all auxiliary. Am is treated as main verb, right? So, maximum few students and a few people feel that as there is no main verb in this sentence, and is it comes under a sentence or not? So it's sure it comes under a sentence and it is not at all auxiliary. It is main verb because there is no main verb in the sentence, right? Where there in what sentence if you don't find any main verb, then there must be an auxiliary, but it is takes the role of main verbs. And also it reveals a tense. I am a teacher mean present tense. Now, right now I am a teacher. And if I want to say that previous I am a teacher but not now, then it changes into I was a teacher. I was a teacher mean in past tense, not now I am a teacher. In previous or in past I was a teacher but not now, right? And there are many that you don't understand, I think, so that if you say uh, I was a boy, mean not right now, right? And I am a liar. So in the sense that you have to say, right now if you are liar, then you say I am a liar. Right now you are liar, and if you say I was a liar, it is wrong, right? And so these also reveals the tense and the time, right? So it is these are also sentences, and also these are not at all auxiliaries, which reveals the time and the tense, and also plays the work of main verb. So these are about auxiliary verbs. Normally we call helping verbs, but after a few standards, means up to 7th standard, it named as, these are all named as helping verbs. From the standard of 8th, helping verbs changes its place, its name by auxiliaries, right? And coming to main verb. What is a main verb? A main verb definitely, surely gives the work of a subject or a noun, and depends on their forms. They divided into three. They are number one, regular, number two, irregular, and number three, unchangeable. Depends on their forms. They are divided into three. And also, regular verbs are called weak verbs, irregular called strong verbs, right? Because normally you know that when we are going to suggest or maintain a password, it shows that weak password, medium password, strong password. Weak password mean which is able to copy, which passwords are able to what is that guess, right? And a medium mean there is a chance to. Strong mean there is no chance to take or to guess your password is. So that's is suggested. And here regular or weak mean it's easy because the verbs, suppose if you have take walk, and this is the verb allows to change its past form very easy just by adding ed, walked. And also there is one more form the same as v2, walked. It's easy, right? So that's what it's a regular because same forms will come v2 and v3, and also weak forms because easy to remember, easy to guessed by someone else. That's what regular and weak verbs, and it is a V1 form, normally called a base form or root form, and it is V2 past form, and it is V3 past participle. Right? Those are three forms are main actually. V4 is nothing but a ing form for all, and S forms are for he, she, it we will use for third person singulars in simple present tense. Right? So depends on their forms, they divided into regular, irregular, and unchangeable. And which verbs are allowed to change to their forms of V2 and V3, D or ED. And also remember that their V2 and V3 forms are same. There are no other changes, right? So those verbs are called regular. And coming to irregular, just if you take a stand, right? Stand, stood, and stood. So it is unable to guess, and maybe a few fellows will say that stand, standard, standard. It's not at all right. They'll also add ed form as regular. It is not at all regular. It is irregular because the forms it changes, the spelling changes, and no one guesses that. Right? Stand, stood, stood. So which verbs are loose? And also just take one more. Sing, sang, and sung. So these also, let's see one sing, S-I-N-G, S-A-N-G, S-U-N-G. Three are differ and not at all regular. So they are called irregular and also called strong. And coming to unchangeable, and unchangeable verbs are, there are no any change in any form. Like cut and cut and cut. Right? There are no any verb in English like cutted and put also. Put, and cut, hut. So, like these, there are a few verbs which don't need any change of any form. In their past form, present form, past participle, all the forms are same, are called unchangeable. And three forms are quite differ, called regular. And two of the forms, V2 and V3, must be same by adding D or ED, are called just regular forms. So these are about main verbs, and those are about auxiliary verbs. So these are the types of verbs in one of parts of speeches. Hope you have understood well. So after these all, once have an idea that how many of you have thought about like this, right? Stand, standard, and cutted. Like this, how many of you use wrong in sense of verbs? Whether what you have known, whether they are right or wrong. Once approach a dictionary or at least a mobile dictionary. Let's know what are the right forms of them. See, here is one more which is quite confused to us here. It is irregular actually. Show is a V1, right? Showed is a V2. As show allows to add ed, don't think that V3 also allows to add ed. Show, showed. It is not showed. A V3 form is shown. See, quite differ here. It is an irregular and strong. And a second form allows to add ed, and third form doesn't here. So that's what, like these, there are many verbs that we often confuse. So make sure that whether the forms that you know right or wrong, and use them in a proper sense. Right? Hope you will do that after watching this video and learn well and use well and get a good impression from all other before whom you are, in front of whom you are speaking, and to whom you are writing, and use in a proper manner. So hope you have understood well all these. right? And we will meet again in next video with one more parts of speech. Till that, bye all.